Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 Stephen.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Hello, everybody. Been gone for a while.
Ho, ho, ho.
Now, if I can get the stupid jingle bells to stop. Oh, my God. It's always, there we go. It's always something.
Get the baseball bat out and just beat the machine that pops out the audio.
Well, first and foremost, everyone out there, Merry Christmas, Happy
Yep.
Holidays, whatever you celebrate. It is just a time of, well, good cheer towards everyone, right, Stephen?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you're celebrating, whatever your religion is, we're still human beings. We got to be kind to each other, like Glenn says at the end of every show. So it's that time. You have to be in that mood. Well, you don't have to be, but you can be an Ebenezer Scrooge if you really want. So do you want to say hi to the people in chat, or you want me to?
Yeah,
do that?
read them off. Again, I hit them all. Hit them all,
Hit them
Stephen.
all. All right. So Jason was in the chat room nice and early. Merry Christmas to you, Jason, and Pliskin's Run. This goes down the list. Merry Christmas to everybody I read off. Sir Sega. Let's see. Brad Underwood. 2 Day 4. Triumph or Die. Obsidian Contraption. I was going to say Constipation, but that's not it. All right. Sorry. Thor KC, JLS Gaming down in Florida. Nice and hot. No snow for him. Great. Dan Z, Adam Cabe. I want to say Cabe. Sure. Let's see who else we got here. Eddie's Game Room, Stephen M, Ben Bauer, Hobby Hands, Jeff D, and Vet 1981. Welcome. Merry Christmas. Okay, show's over. See ya.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
Yeah, so everybody, it's not constipation. If I read that too quick, it might have been constipation. So not a thing to have during Christmas time. Usually you eat, then you might have that, if you eat too much turkey or whatever, right? Now, do you tend to be around lots of food at Christmas time, like more than to the point where you have to undo your first button on your pants kind of
Well,
thing?
it's hard not to. I think Thanksgiving's worse than
Is it really?
Christmas.
Okay.
But same. It's always. I'm going to my cousin's house this year, and her husband owned an Italian restaurant. So the guy
Oh,
the guy
geez.
can cook. My brother's a chef, but he owned a restaurant. So and then he does like everything. He's got the
Well, you're
pastas.
Italian and by heritage, right? And
Yeah.
stuff like that. I was at an Italian person's house when I was younger, and it was like, "What are you doing? You stopped eating. What's wrong with you?" And then they thought you were sick or something for stop eating. No, no, I'm full. Go away. But they kept trying to feed me, and I was like, "Wow, that's dangerous."
Well, you always have to have your dessert stomach, no matter how much food you eat.
That goes in a different hole. That goes
It
in a different
does. It
pipe.
does.
It doesn't go in the same place where all the other crap
It does
goes,
not.
right? So we got other people that have been showing up here. Paul Barnes, Biggie D's Arcade, Iceman, Zero Redux. So people keep coming in. We're about 37 people in. So that's good.
It is.
That's good.
I took off Tuesday. So from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and today, I'm on vacation. And I decided once and for all, it was time to get rid of my arcade one-ups. I sold 7 this week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Gone. And it feels good. It really does feel good. Like I didn't want to.
Well, you got space back there now.
Well, I have space. I can look at this.
I saw you dancing around earlier.
I can actually get around. I can move around up here. I have some
break
room.
dancing space. That's what you got.
It's one of those things. As a collector, all the people in the chat I know can associate with this. We are collectors. We purchase things. We want to hold on to them, and we want to use them. Have our friends enjoy them. So it was very difficult. As much as I really wanted them gone, it was very difficult for me to let go. I definitely have a problem letting things go for sure. But
I'm
once
in the same boat. We're a little bit on the hoarding side.
We are, and I definitely have a lot of that myself. But the first ones I sold the NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat, and I didn't really miss the NBA Jam per se, but I do like Mortal Kombat. But the people who bought them were very thankful. They're going to go with their kids for the holidays, or they have family
Yeah.
coming over. And then it went, which I was really surprised. I talked to Cole. He didn't care. I sold the Pac-Man Legacy unit, which I was surprised. So that one went. And the Space Invaders. And you know me, Steven, I am a huge Space Invaders guy. And that was a 40th anniversary Space
It's not the
Invaders.
real one.
It's not the real. It's not a real one. So that's what kept going through my head. These are just recreations. And to be honest, the iArcade Space Invaders is much superior to the one that was on the arcade one up anyway. So those two went.
I don't know. I just find the arcade one-up stuff is kind of cheap knockoffs. That's just my opinion.
Well,
I hope I don't get reamed into the
No,
chat,
I don't
but
think
that's
so.
just the way I see them. I look at them as like, and the only one I want is Star Wars, and I'm gonna swap out the controller with your controller, and that's it. Like that's all I want.
Well,
Yeah.
those are like right now I have two Trons. I have the Tron I made, which is right there, and then the arcade one-up Tron. And which one do I keep? I want to keep the arcade one-up Tron in case there's any issues down the road. I can use that as some proof. But I like my Tron better, so I might have to keep both of those. And then I have the arcade one-up Star Wars with I have the Starcade from Kongs and Russ in it, and then I have one I built. So I maybe I don't know. I have a couple more I have to sell, but I guess the big point I was trying to make is I really had a hard time doing it, but now that it's done, I know people
Yeah.
are enjoying it. I feel good. Maybe it's that whole thing with the Grinch. My heart was too
Dude,
small, but now my
it's
heart's
like
growing really big selling my arcade one-ups.
it's like purging. Like I had a whole bunch of stuff here that I brought at World of Commodore a few weeks ago, and I sold most of it. Like I had extra TRS 80 cartridges. I don't even own a TRS 80 at all. So I just goodbye, see ya. I'm out. Bye.
Yep. Andy's
You know?
asking. I sell him Asteroids, and the Asteroids has two pieces of sentimental value for me. First of all, Space Invaders and Asteroids are my two games, and I obviously sold the Space Invaders. But the Asteroids was my very first unit that I was given for the purpose of review. Shizcom, and I was working with them. They sent me the Asteroids, and that kind of started the whole thing too. That started the whole thing with it was a crappy spinner, and that started my spinner and started the GRS, product line.
The legacy.
Right. So that was the whole problem I've been having with this whole thing. So I potentially am going to sell it. Maybe keep the 12-in-1 because I have a 12-in-1 as well.
Give it some time. It'll grow on you. You'll know what to do eventually.
I'm
So
sure. I'm sure it's still going to get sold. Because to
yeah.
be honest, I think this is what it comes down to. And when I was on the Retro Buzz with Steven and Doug back in the day, we said the same thing. The multicades are generally played more because you could do more with them. But the arcade one-ups, you have an Asteroid machine, you have a Galaga machine, you have a Space Fan machine. So if you want someone to walk into your room, like behind me right now, and have all those machines lit up, the arcade
It looks
one-ups,
cool.
the arcade one-ups are gonna be the better way to go.
Yeah.
But when your space is limited, like I said, I've gotten to the point now where even I see it's a sickness. Like I have just way too much.
Well, think about it. If you have 20 of these things, they take up space, whether they're a quarter scale or whatever the scale is, or not. They still take up space. I mean, it's
Well, if I had
So
a garage or a bigger house, it may have been a different story. Or if Cole, like
well, how
I
many
asked,
times are you gonna play them? That's the other thing too, right? Like I have 5 arcade machines, and I'm tempted to get rid of some of them because I don't play them as much as I thought I would. So it was cool to collect and everything else. So,
well,
but I did want to preface before we keep going.
yeah, go
Last
shoot.
week I was at my Christmas party.
Yes,
I apologize. I wanted to
you
be
son
here.
of a bitch.
So it had an open bar, which I did not take advantage of, but they had some
What?
games and well, I had to drive home. My wife would have drove, I guess, but I won a few things there, so I lucked out. I
Well,
cashed out.
it's because everyone else was drunk. So good for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the supper was amazing. It was an Italian uh, establishment. It's called the Dante Club, and basically it's
We know food.
the spicy meatball. And I went up. I went to the lady. I was like, "Don't you have the spaghetti that goes with this?" And no, it was just the meatballs. That's an Italian thing, right? When you just have just meatballs, no
That's right.
spaghetti, just
No,
the
but
meat.
you know what's kind of funny for an Italian family? We on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, Swedish meatballs.
Oh
I
yeah,
was like,
that's always
that's
cool.
the
Yeah,
big one,
yeah,
Swedish meatballs.
that's always good.
And if
Yeah,
you
for
watch
sure.
Babylon 5, Jakar said every single alien race always seems to have their own version of Swedish meatballs. which I
Oh,
think is
really?
kind of funny.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a comment from Jakar.
So yeah, so one day I may end up getting rid of my arcades. If I do, I'll give some of you guys the first dibs on those sales or whatever.
Well,
But
in
for now, I can
your,
keep
I
them.
mean, you have a son and a daughter. Do they play them at all? Because like Cole could care
They
less.
do
That's my thing. Cole did not
sometimes.
care.
I think they do it just to humor me. That's it. Uh, like I have an original Miss Pac-Man. I told my daughter if I were to cross over on the live, it would go to her, and then my son would get another one or whatever. So it's, yeah, it is what it is. I don't want to, but anyways, these guys they don't go in there to play, and
No.
I thought they might, but they don't. Then I don't blame them or anything. It was just they just don't.
It's just,
It's
one of
not
those.
their
It's those weird
generation.
things. I think our spirits. Not that I'm the most religious person. I'm actually really not religious at all. But I think I think that when we're created, your child will never follow what you like, so they get out of the house type of thing. Because if my
It's the
father,
rebellion
it
attitude.
is because if my
Rebellious.
father had
Sorry.
these machines, I would have been like all over them. I mean, Bond Central. But Cole, my brother, could care
They couldn't
less.
care less, and
No.
you can't blame them. They're
I will
interested
say
in
that
other things.
Jen and Ellie, when they came over, they would play them. They would. Um,
Do they still do, or is
well,
that
no,
phase has evaporated? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
probably. It just gets to the point where you got to focus. I'm going to focus more on obviously 1/6 scale, New Wave Toys, Numbskull. Obviously, I have a partnership with New Wave Toys, so I know some things that
you know what?
I might need space for with New Wave Toys. So I'm making some room for that. Um,
You know what I think? I'm going to give you sort of my, and you probably attest to it and say, yeah, they're going to do that. These other companies, whether it's New Wave Toys or whatever, whoever is, we'll call it still alive, is those companies have probably looked at the mistakes that Arcade One Up made, and they're going to probably come out swinging and not make crap. You know what I mean? Like
well, that's
they're
the
gonna
big
probably
thing.
go. They're
I
probably gonna go. Okay, they screwed up here. Yeah, they had the licenses, sure, but I think they're going to. You know what I mean? They're gonna do it. Make it a good effort to not make those same mistakes.
Well,
You know,
Jen says they still enjoy playing. So I
well, there
got
you
them,
go.
but
You got the truth.
I got them their own Mortal Kombat and Pac-Man, so they do have it in house, and it's buried right now. They're buried. So,
Yeah, for sure. So it's
but the big thing is, I think the big problem with RK One Up is they're charging way too much for what you get. I think that's the problem. They first came out at
wow.
$2.99. It was good. I understand they've supposedly let up more keys, but they're still not worth the price they're charging. So for me,
I'm going to tell you something probably I never said on the podcast on the live stream. My dad was a cabinet maker, still alive, but he's retired, and I know what cheap wood looks like. And when I saw them, I knew right off the bat. I'm not a wood expert, but I know I've been around enough kitchen cabinets. It's basically a cabinet, the arcade. You know what I mean? Like you make kitchen cabinets or you make
well,
that
when
thing. It's
you can go
pretty much the same
to
thing.
like IKEA, or you can go to what's
Anywhere that sells this kind of
no,
stuff, and
you
you'll
can
see
you
the
go to
difference.
IKEA, or you can go to like a Job Lots, right? IKEA, it's still the cheap stuff, but it's gonna last. You go to the Job Lots, yeah, maybe it'll be good for like 2 months. Kind of wood,
Yeah,
That's the
yeah, yeah.
quality we're talking about here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you make your own, you're gonna make a way better cabinet and way better quality.
Well, you know
So
what? We could talk about them. I'm done talking about them.
yeah.
I'm
Let's
getting them
move
out.
on to.
Done with Arcade One Up, but
So we got a surprise for everybody.
we do.
We're gonna talk about
Yeah,
Christmas stuff. So
we
last
are.
year,
Yeah,
just to
Steven.
refresh
Yes.
everybody, last year Glenn and I, if you guys recall, we looked at I think the Sears catalog. We were flipping through the pages. We were like, "Ooh, I remember this. I remember that." And basically, everybody in the chat was losing their minds of seeing all this cool old stuff. Glenn had a great idea this year. I think it's a great idea. It's a different store. Let us have it.
Here we go. Let's
Radio
look.
Shack.
Let's look at 40 years ago, 1983's Radio Shack Christmas flyer.
Radio Scrap. What I used to call it.
I so miss Radio Shack. I know they're overpriced a lot of this stuff, but man, there's something about
I
walking
got a
into a Radio
question before
Shack.
we go.
Yes.
I got a question. Did you guys in the States also sell Tandy leather stuff? Because in Canada here, you'd go to Radio Shack, and at the back, there was a dude making belts, or you know what I mean? And we were, even as a kid, I was like, how was this related to electronics in any way? Is that a thing that happened in the U.S. also, or was that just up here?
No, not in, although they were a leather company, just like Coleco was a leather company. That's where they kind of started.
No, but they were still making this leather stuff in the Radio Shack back in the 80s.
Not in the U.S. as far as I'm aware.
In
And I worked for
Canada,
them.
it was.
I worked for Radio Shack a number of times. I loved working for them. In fact, I went from Radio Shack right to Prodigy because the president of Prodigy
Okay.
had walked into Radio Shack, asked me about Prodigy, and he goes, "Here's my card. Come see me." He was like, "Oh, president of Prodigy." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll go do that." Oh,
and
yeah,
the
go.
Iceman said the Battery of the Month Club.
Battery of the Month Club. And people come in like 5 cards. That's not how it works. One person, 1 card, 1 battery. They would come in with like 10 of these cards, expect and walk out with like 10. I'm like, no, get out.
Get out.
Get out. So
Greedy buggers.
let's do a quick. So this is 1983's Radio Shack Christmas sale flyer. It wasn't a catalog, but it's a flyer. But this is 40 years ago. Let's open up the pages of ages ago. Here we go.
Get ready to be amazed.
So here we have, and I was working, by the way, I was working for Radio Shack at this time in 83. I was working there. And I actually owned the 149, the pocket computer right there. I was telling Steven before the show. For some reason, one day I decided to just smash it. I don't know why. I was in one of my tirades.
We all took stuff apart to see how it worked.
We did. But look at these prices.
Did anyways. My parents would get pissed at me. Oh, you took the little radio we bought you apart. What'd you do that for? But I want to know how it worked.
So we got floppy disks. Let's go a little further in deep. Let's go to the next page, see what we get here. Now,
so Frank is joining us, last week's guest from Retro Rewind.
Hey,
He
Frank.
says none of the Radio Shacks around Toronto did leather. So back in 1980, whatever, the Radio Shack up in Cochrane, which is way up north from Toronto, it's an 8-hour, they had a leather section. And again, as a kid, you're like, you gonna make a horse saddle here, or what's happening? And they sold all the tools, the punches and all that stuff. And it was just like, what? It was really weird.
Chris is saying right here, I think this is what really did in Sears and like Radio Shack. When they stopped doing their catalogs and sending out their catalogs, that's when sales started going down. All year long, I would just pick up Radio Shack catalog or the Sears catalog, and I would just go through it. I would know everything on every page. And some marketing person or some business person, you know what? We're spending too much money on these catalogs. Let's cut them out. And that's what killed your business, pals.
Oh,
that's what did you guys in. The catalogs were
because
fantastic.
that's all there was back then. When you think about it, there was no internet, so you had to go get excited somehow, right? Like right now, we go on Amazon or wherever, or even on YouTube to see a product review. That's how we get excited. It's that simple.
This gets me excited. Now, Steven said I was actually shocked when he said he wasn't a fan of the Coco. I loved the Coco.
I don't hate the Coco. I just never sunk into it. Maybe now, if I had one, I'd dive into it and go, "Oh, this is cool." But
I had a TI 994A. Everyone else under the sun had a Coco, and they were sharing the tapes. They were copying them. I'm like, oh man, this sucks. They got all these games, and it was a great machine. I actually had a Coco 1 32K. I still have my Coco 2 and Coco 3, but I loved the Coco, and I would still love to get my hands on one of these. The original, like the Model 1, 2, or 3.
Is that the big one there on the left?
That's the big one on the left.
I knew somebody was giving them away. I don't know if they still have it. I'd have to ask. They're massive and they're heavy as hell.
They are, but there's just something about it where
like a boat anchor.
I just loved it, like the Pet, right? The Pet,
of course. Yeah. I can see the appeal. It's just, this person was trying to. It's a friend of mine. I went to school with her. She's like, "Hey, Steven, you got any use for these ginormous TRS-80 machines?" And I'm like, no. And I didn't just want to take them because I don't have the space. So there's probably people in the chat going, "Why did you take it?"
Yeah, Steven, you always take it. You can always find something to do after the fact. You always
for that.
Always take it.
I got more Xboxes I know what to do with. So people just give me Xboxes.
Well, what got me about like the Pet, right? About this computer and the Pet was there was no graphics, there was no sound, and yet They had Space
They
Invaders.
still made
They had
games out of
They
them.
had Zaxxon. They had Galaxian. And again, it blew my mind that someone was able to still make, and they were fun. You know, they were very
Oh, yeah,
basic
yeah.
graphics, but they're still very fun.
You know what? It was like people, they made their own fun. They went to the arcade and they said, "I'm gonna try to make this on this machine," and they made it happen, which is pretty cool. So, what else you got there? I could barely see. It's a little blurry. Looks like there's some desks and some printers underneath there
Well,
or
listen,
something.
we have those printer desks. There are some old phones. And British Shack was really good with, these old style
Oh,
phones.
these are the phones that when you pressed it, it didn't do a tone dial. You pressed it and it went. It was like a
Correct.
relay.
The rotary dials.
And I think
Yes.
there's some of them had a switch that went to tone, but you
Yes.
were the rich people if you had the tone stuff.
Yeah, because you had to pay for the service. So,
Yeah, you had to pay
my
for the
parents had
tone.
the rotary phones. And if you bought a touch tone phone, you had to set, like Steven said, you had to set it to pulse unless
Yeah.
you paid for the doot, 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 doot. So we were still doing
Yeah, it's weird that they actually charged people to dial tone dial. That's greedy, man.
Now look at
That's all I gotta
this.
say.
Cordless
More
phones, only $100. Look at that.
that was like bleeding edge. And
Or
then after a while, you had your neighbors on your phone, and
I like
the
the
signal would
old
overlap.
answering machines that had cassettes on it. You had to have
Oh,
the
yeah.
remote control. So you had to take the remote, go to the phone, and you pressed, and it went, and that's how you would get your messages. You couldn't even dial a number. You had to press this thing to the phone
Oh,
and have it
really?
make tones. That look over on the answering machine, right under Santa. That's that little boxes, that black box. You had to take with you, and when you
And
called your
if it
house,
filled up, that was it.
that was it. What was a cassette? You usually got a lot more on the
Then
tapes.
the 3 messages we get on cell phones now.
Right? Yeah, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, yeah. And then what's the other one? That's the thing they call the Charlie's Angels underneath there, eh? On the
Yeah, that was a
second row.
speakerphone. That was
Yeah,
a
they call the angels.
yes.
Hey, angels.
And actually, people, that's when they would buy it. They would say that, the one that Bosley or they
Yeah.
say Bosley would do on the Charles Angels. But
It,
yeah,
it looked like actually that little box from that show.
what's up,
Charlie's
Angels?
Angels. What else we got? A
Oh,
VCR.
look at this
Wow.
VCRs and TVs. Look at the price,
I remember
$4.99.
that. My
That
dad
VCR.
bought our first VCR was $500, and it had a cord, and the cord didn't
For
have stop. It had
no,
fast forward,
pause.
pause.
Oh, mine just had pause and play. That was it.
No, ours had that and fast forward and rewind. But when you rewound or press that, the tape would go clunk, and then take a few seconds to go to back up. It was always terrible.
But look at these TVs. We
That
would all kill for any one of
black and white
these
TVs
TVs.
there.
Yep.
Woo.
Yep, these TVs are great.
Now, what's that stuff at the bottom? Blank tapes?
Blank? Yes, yeah, the gold.
Hard to see. It's pretty small.
Yeah, they are videotapes. And that's what they
Wow.
charge for them. $9.95 each, or $13 for the high quality one. So I guess if you want the cheap ass one, you got the $9 one.
It was less grainy, I guess.
They were all actually just as grainy, but I think they did like cassettes, the metal.
How much are the black and white TVs on that first page?
Oh, hold on a second. Cole joined us. Oh my God, the
Oh my
prodigal
God,
son.
Cole! It
thank
must
you for
be
joining.
Christmas.
He's been good this year.
He's been
really
good.
good in
That's good.
school, so he's good. What do you want to see? How much? What?
The black and white televisions on the first page on.
Yep, the
What was
5-inch.
the prices on?
The 5-inch is $189.95.
$200 for black and white 5-inch TV.
Yep.
With the radio probably built in.
Right. The 9-inch, which is bigger, is only $100. So I think the portable with the radio. I still have my Sampo 5-inch TV, AM/FM cassette.
Oh,
boom
mine are all
box.
gone.
Oh, I still got that one.
No, mine are gone.
And these rabbit ears are completely useless these days. Oh, Steps Gaming. Hello, Steps. Thank you for joining. We appreciate you guys here. I know you were on a show last night and I missed it. I am so sorry. Steps was on a show last night and she's like, sent me the link. I'm on the show and I like fell asleep. So
No, go back.
Go
I want
back.
to know what those boxes are at the top on the right. What are those? Like
Those
tuners?
are tuners, which the RF modulators, color video. Oh, I had that. One's a color video processor. So you plugged it in between your like your VCR and your TV set or your game console, and you can adjust the contrast a little bit better, or you can
really?
sharpen the picture a little bit. I
did
actually
not
had
know that. Oh, really? I never knew anybody that had that. That's funny.
Oh my goodness.
And then some regular rabbit ears, as
Yeah,
they
they're
say.
right. Yeah, I said totally worthless today. They'll pick up nothing.
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 Yeah,
Go
everybody. You know
digital.
what's funny is to not sidetrack too much, but I have a digital tuner that I plug in my network, and it looks like a lot of the channels are going to the standard called ATSC3, which is encrypted over-the-air channels.
Okay.
Well, my little box I bought 2 years ago doesn't work anymore because it's not compliant with that. I'm like, well, what the hell? Fucking racket these people have. Anyway, next.
Oh, we got just. Does anyone even have these things anymore? Because everyone's got cell phones.
That's like a radio and a cassette player built in together, isn't it?
Well, it's usually just clocks, AM/FM clocks. But do people even use them anymore? I had the one from Radio Shack that talked.
We have a clock radio in our bedroom that
Do
we
you
used
still?
to get up in the morning. Yeah.
You old man.
Well, that's my wife's side. She uses it. I use
Sure,
my
sure.
phone.
Blame the wife. I get it. Yeah, blame the wife.
No, she likes it. She's used to it. It wakes her up on time. It's good. 9-volt battery in case the power goes out. You know.
Yeah, a barometer
What's the other
here.
stuff?
But it's, let's look at the prices though. Let's say what the they went from about $60 for the most expensive one down to $30 for the cheapest clock radio. See, one's got a
Those
cassette
are the
player.
early day of MP3s right there.
Yeah, one's got a cassette player built in. But man. Oh, here we go.
Those were almost ghetto blasters.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, but a little bit before the breakdancing stuff started happening.
Yeah, this is 83, so yeah, probably maybe 2 years too early.
Yeah, but still, it was getting there. The shape. The top one looks like it has like a Walkman thing.
I think
the
it
second one.
the radio pulls out. It's a portable radio that you can
So it's
slide
like
in.
a Walkman-ish, but you
Yep.
plug it in there. That's like a modern day iPhone docking thing or something or whatever. That's pretty cool.
I do. Ace Man's talking about the Radio Shack sold a Seiko. It was a wristwatch, but it was a TV wristwatch.
I heard about that. Yeah.
But the problem was you had the watch on your hand with the display, but a cable went all the way up your arm to this huge honking backpack you had to wear on your belt. That was the actual everything else for the TV.
The charade of it all.
Yeah, it was a farce. It was expensive. It was like $400 for that.
The rich kids had that.
Well, here you go.
Okay, here we go. A little ghetto blaster-ish.
Let's see. The one on the top goes
The
for
poor man's ghetto blaster.
Now, this is $169 and $279 back in 1983.
That's like $1 million in today's money.
Like 500, probably 500.
Oh, probably more than that. At least 6, if not more. Because remember the consoles, you had a ColecoVision for whatever, and apparently now, back then, it was worth today's money in the $600 mark or something.
It's crazy.
You know?
And then the Walkman started getting smaller. Of course, Sony. Everyone wanted the Sony Walkman because that was like the best. But I don't think the Sony Walkman was out yet. I think that came out maybe in 84.
Well, they were mimicking the Sony Walkman probably at that point.
Well, Sony
because
still was the
they're
best.
knocking it off. You know what I mean? So what else we got here? What the hell is that? A fax machine?
No, these are memory recorders.
Oh, okay.
And radios.
Oh, just regular cassette decks you brought to school and recorded the teacher yapping. Yeah.
I thought right here I can see the micro cassette recorders. They was a really tiny, like about that big.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yep. Those were really cool. I remember falling in love with those things.
So small. I could just record voice. It sounds like crap for music. But it's not bad though. What do we got there?
Now here again is back in the day where you didn't buy a single unit, or if you did, it was crappy. You had to buy a cassette deck.
The cassette
you had to buy the tuner. You had to buy an amp, an equalizer.
And an equalizer, yeah.
That was the days. Look at all the microphones.
Everything was separate. Yeah, some of them, they don't make microphones like that no more.
No.
What's that stuff? Oh, just blank tapes and
blank cassettes.
media up there.
Let's see what blank cassettes went for. About $3, $4.
For how long? 60 minutes?
60 minutes with the most. Well, they did have 120s. But you had to be careful because those are the ones that kind of would get jammed and then it would start spilling out all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But they have 8-track players at the bottom.
Dude, like my favorite comedian said, I've had milk last longer than 8 tracks.
Oh, here we go. Still making a comeback slowly. Turntables.
Yeah, my son's got one. Check this out. My son bought a turntable. Where was it? At Best Buy. It's got Bluetooth. It's got like a built-in amp and everything. So he's got it on a Bluetooth speaker. It was great, you know. Look at those old headphones. Wow.
And then we have tuners over these AM/FM stereo receivers, and even that was separate. You had an AM/FM deck, the amplifier. I still have most of them. I actually have a front-loading linear turntable made by Sony, and
Okay.
it broke, and I sent it to a TV repair place to fix it, and it was like a year. I'm like, what the hell's going on? The guy didn't want to. He didn't want to fix it because he didn't want to give it back.
What?
He wanted it for himself. I said, dude, just give it back, and I went somewhere else and got it fixed. And I
Really?
also, yeah, no,
That
no
crooked?
joke, no joke. It was such a
Why
nice
did he just
turntable.
ask you to buy it off you
Well,
or something?
you know me, it would have been like, hell no.
Yeah.
And I have a Mitsubishi 7-player deck. So it was a robot loading cassette deck that would load
Oh, yeah.
in 7 tapes.
We got a super chat by Hobby Hands there.
Can you read that?
I have an RS Game & Watch clone called Highway, not Highway or
Highway. Yeah, that was Radio Shack was really big at rebranding like little LCD handhelds.
Okay.
And
I remember that.
I had 30 or 40 of them, and one day of depression, I threw them all out. And
We all get weak moments in life, Glenn.
yeah,
It's
just
okay.
tossed them.
We all get weak moments.
We're gonna pause here for a second.
That's why you need a friend to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't do that.
Yeah, they go.
Ho, ho, ho.
Got to get it right, Steven.
Yeah,
We're gonna pause here
exactly.
for a second because although we don't do shameless plugs, right? Steve and I were talking about this. We're gonna do I'm doing
We
a
will not
personal.
bow down to any sponsors.
No sponsors except for this particular one, who's myself. So I have something I want to do, a little announcement here. It's a little infomercial for you guys here. So we'll be right back. Let's have a watch.
Game on.
Hey there, game gurus. Welcome back to the channel. This year is almost up. There's a couple things I want to mention before that happens. It's been a fairly big year here at GRS. We had a really good year with the SNK partnership with the GRS Super Joystick, Ikari Warriors Edition. This is doing very well. Fantastic feedback we've been getting on this. It's been selling super well. People are very, very happy with this little guy. But there's a couple more things we want to tell you about before the year is out. We have a couple of pre-orders going live. One of the pre-orders here is, I've been talking about this for a while, it's the GRS Build-A-Case. Now this case is an acrylic case you can get. Pre-orders up now, it'll be shipping in January. And it will fit your GRS Build-A-Case, but also fit your New Wave Toys machines, and also the My Arcades, including the new modifications that can make your My Arcade 1/6 scale. So this case will keep your machines dust-free. You can still display them, see them being played, and it has a port on the back allowing your USB cables to go in so you can keep them powered. So it's just a great way to display your items, keep the dust off of them, keep them powered. I still put these in a bag, but you may not. You just want to display them that way. So that pre-order just went live, and you can order them right now. I think they're going for like $19 for them, for the kits. And there's one more thing I want to talk about. This has been showcased a lot at the gaming conventions, at the NAVA show in New Jersey, and out at the Cleveland Gaming Expo recently, and the feedback was phenomenal, all positive feedback, and we even have a name for it right now. So the pre-order is going live now. If you want to get one, the GRS Sinden Target Pro. Yes, we have a name now, this GRS Sinden Target Pro. This uses Sinden technology, uses a camera for the light guns. It's a partnership between GrSRetroshow T-Sticks and Sinden. The big deal with this gun and why it got such fantastic feedback is this thing has got great weight. It uses wood, very high quality components. This is compatible with, hey, look, I have a little zip tie stuck on there. And this is compatible with the Big Buck Hunter from Arcade 1-Up. It's compatible with everything that a regular Sinden is. You can use it on a PC, you can use it on a Raspberry Pi, you can use it on the upcoming Viper, Linux builds, anything Android, anything that Sinden supports, we will support. We have our own firmware on this thing as well. We have 4 buttons, 2 on this side and 2 on this side, just like the Sinden. We have the solenoid. We have force feedback with the solenoid because you reload right there. We have different tips on here. We can use no tip at all if you wanted to. Wood back here. This is my prototype unit, but again, if you want to get in on this action, this has gotten fantastic reviews at the NAVA convention and out recently at the Cleveland Gaming Expo. The target price for this one is about $250. It's probably one of the more expensive things we sell, but the quality's there. If you know anything about GRS quality, you're going to get that with this gun. The weight and the accuracy is unmatched. But I just wanted to tell you that. So this GRS Sinden Target Pro
is now available for pre-order for $250 up on the website, as well as the GRS Build-A-Case is available, the one that fall. And that's it. We have more stuff coming in 2024. Of course, we have the Viper still up and coming. We have other products still going to be coming out. So stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to the channel to get all the latest on these products coming out. You will not be disappointed in 2024. You weren't disappointed in 2023. And I myself can't thank you all for all the incredible support and feedback you guys have given us. But that's it for this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me in the algorithms. It takes 1 second for you. It really helps me out with YouTube. But remember, as fun as all these things are, and great they are, gaming is fantastic. Just remember, especially this time of year, that nothing takes precedence over your family and friends. Just take one moment to tell them that you love them, because tomorrow is never promised. But in between those times, get in on these great pre-orders. You won't be disappointed. Get the GRS Sinden Target Pro. Get a GRS Build-A-Case, get an Ikari Warriors gift for Christmas. But that's it. Until next time, guys, game on.
Ho, ho, ho.
Shameless plug. I know it. I'm sorry about that. But it is now live. I put a link down in the chat. If you are interested in the GRS Sinden Target Pro, pre-orders are live actually right now.
AKA the boomstick.
That's right. You can still call it the boomstick, but the official name will be the.
Was there a
Target
copyright
Pro.
or something on that name?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
But remember, it's a partnership.
It didn't make the meeting target thing, right?
Well, it's also with Sinden, so you got to make sure that he's happy with it too. And again, it is $250. It's on the higher end. When the GRS Star Wars yoke had come out, it was about the same amount of money. But you got to remember, this is a high quality wood and industrial plastic.
Well, aren't the Sinden light guns on their own almost a couple $100 a piece?
With the solenoid and everything, it's like $150. So it's a $100 premium for the additional package. And again,
you know what I mean? Like if you bought the Sinden light guns on their own, I mean, you're in the same ballpark. It's not
correct.
Like you're 3 times the price or anything.
Correct. And we're shooting for end of February, early March. We've been producing as fast as we can. And again, they're compatible with anything that the actual Sinden is. But in addition to, we can work with the Big Buck Hunter. So if you do have an arcade one-up Big Buck Hunter, we have the cable which will allow it to connect to your strain relief on the Big Buck Hunter, and you can use it on there.
Cool.
And everything else under the sun. So that was a shameless plug. So let's go back to the shack.
You got another year, or were we done that one?
No, we're still going but about halfway through.
What year is this? 82?
83.
83.
83. We're getting to some of the speakers. Now here's some of the like all-in-one units, which again, I think
bundles.
and like in the early 90s, I think these all-in-one units really started getting good. And then in 2000s, then you didn't want the components. You actually wanted to buy the small, like a Bose all in
yeah.
So this is still at the time where you wanted everything independently of it. Let's see. We got our next page here.
Turntables. Wow.
Did it turn?
No. I'm just sort of more speakers or an equalizer.
Well, here are the things. So Radio Shack Realistic was definitely known for their speakers, especially towards the end. They were really, really good. I actually had, I forgot who made my speakers. They were like, it was a 15-inch woofer, 8-inch mid-range, a 5-inch mid-range, a couple tweeters. And these were speakers where you felt the bass, man. You were in your house, your parents wanted to murder you because you were blasting like AC/DC or something.
And they don't make speakers like they used to either. Like you look at speakers now, I find that the range isn't as near, like as good as what they used to be. You know what I mean? So like my son, he got this little Bluetooth, what brand was it? I forget what brand it is. And he's like, oh, this sounds great. And I was like, no, that doesn't sound great. No offense. Love your little device, buddy.
Not at
but
all.
No.
Real quick, Wolf and Oz, welcome to the show. Always appreciate you dropping in. And Zero Cool had a question about, is the GRS control panel coming out again? Yes, it is. We just been so busy right now getting the Viper ready and some other things. So it will be coming back out probably early 2024. We'll start getting that back out for people to purchase real quick. But back to this, here's a 10-band equalizer. But you know what? I don't like about I don't like about that equalizer. There's no display. The one I have you have to have that little display. Otherwise, what's the point?
they got those later, I think, or those were the more expensive ones. that had the actual
I got one back in that time frame.
the
There was-
levels that went
there
up
were
and
more money.
down.
There were more money.
Yeah, yeah. Those were the more affordable ones at $119.
As Jason said, what I think of the Tandy venture in the late 1990s called Incredible Universe. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
I don't
Well,
remember that
not
one.
in Canada, anyways.
He met Mark Hamill there. Well, awesome. I don't recall that show.
That would pay for itself right there. Meeting Luke Skywalker. What the hell?
And actually, 666 Truth Seeker 666. Well, since Sinden is from England, the answer is yes. We will send the boomstick or the shotgun there and the Ikari stick. In fact, if you go to our website, we have a special link for international out of the USA for the Ikari stick. So you can do it right now if you want to order an Ikari stick in the UK. Yes. The answer is yes, 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 and yes.
Cool.
And
So what else we got? Let's flip
see.
the next page. What in the world?
Here are all those all-in-one stereos. And
No, I want to know on the left. What is all
those
that?
are equal. I actually had that very lower
mixers.
left.
They look like mixers.
It's a mixer. And I had the one on the lower left. When I had my Amiga, that's the mixer I used with my Amiga.
Oh,
with my
wow.
sound channels.
Oh, that's funny.
And the strobe light. You always had to have your strobe or your red light and your strobe light when your music was playing, right?
Yeah. Give you epilepsy in no time.
Well, you found out which friend had it when it came into your
Yeah,
room.
exactly. It's like, yeah. Oh man, I didn't know he had epilepsy. Sorry. Car stereos.
Again, Radio Shack. I don't think they were fantastic car stereos, but they sold
Realistic was the brand, wasn't it?
Yep, they sold a ton of them. Especially when I was there, I didn't think
Is there an 8-track in there?
They sold one with the 8 tracks, or they had 8-track modules, or modules that turned to cassettes, which you can see on the other side of the screen.
Yeah. Oh, the big adapter there on the right-hand side. You used to put a cassette inside the 8-track, and it would play cassettes in the 8-track player, which I don't know what kind of weird blasphemy that was, but you know.
Real quick, Seeker. If you go to the page, we have a separate link. If you go under the joysticks, one's going to say Ikari Warriors US Edition, and the one below that will say Ikari Warriors International. You have to pick that one to go for international shipping. So if you go back to the page, just look for the one that says International, and you will be able to purchase it. Sorry about any inconvenience on that one, though. So we got car stereos.
The bullhorns on the side there?
Yeah,
on the right?
well, yes. So the car alarms. Those are the car alarms.
Oh, okay. That's what that is. It's hard to see when it's small like that.
But I remember I had a car alarm. It was like one wire, or it was grounded, and had just one wire to the 12 volts. And somebody had to hit the car pretty good hit to make that car alarm go off. But my friends, what would do is, as I was driving down in New York City, my friend who was a funny guy, had a wireless remote. So as I'm driving down the roadway, he'd press the button so the alarm would go off. So we're driving down like the car's stolen. I got pulled over once for that one, and that was not fun.
Funny friend.
Oh, we got the old walkie-talkies and scanners, it looks like here. And CBs. Yeah. They died off. Yeah. CBs were huge in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah. You thought you were Smoking the Bandit there and stuff. That's a big 10-4, little buddy. Or whatever. I don't know how to do CB talk, but
once the 90s hit and cell phones, even if they were expensive, I think that kind of killed off the walkie-talkies. Now, what's funny, I actually think my alarm might have been a Viper alarm. So there you go, full circle with that one.
Now you got the Viper board and Viper alarm. What's all this Viper stuff?
Yeah, it's a lot of
the man likes snakes.
A lot of snakes. A lot of snakes. I think
I have no idea what
alarms.
that is.
These are
what that is?
House alarms up here. These are house alarms. And
yeah,
these are all
what the hell
smoke alarms. See this one right here? I had this in my room, and my parents wanted to kill me. So I went away for the weekend, and I said, do not go in my room. And apparently they went in my room because this is an alarm, and it was loud. I mean, it was loud on a 9-volt battery. And
it is a motion detector? Or?
It was a magnet. The magnet switch. And
around
I
the
went in
door.
the room. I told them not to go in my room, and it went off. And you can't turn it off. I wasn't home, and you had to use a key. So my mother and father
You got beat up
wanted
a lot when you were a child,
kill
probably, right?
kill me. When I got home, man, I got practically beat to death.
That's
Intercoms.
funny.
We have some intercoms. Remember
Oh,
those
I
good old
remember
days?
those. Buddies in the garage there.
Yep.
Yeah, come and have some supper or dinner.
Good old
I remember those.
multimeters. Those were
The analog multimeters,
yep.
not digital.
Mm-mm.
Or analog display multimeters.
You have some digital ones here. See what they went for. $50 for these.
Yeah, but they didn't give you like super accurate
No.
readings, I guess. But
still,
still,
back then, the electronics, you're
it was close enough, probably.
Just had to be close.
Close enough. So
Now
what's
we
the
have
stuff at
some.
the top.
These are
Timers?
like timers. But these
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But these devices here, you can tell it to turn them on and off. It's almost like the X10. Remember the X10 stuff? But this is what I had right here. This was my talking clock. Nothing on it. You had to press it, and then your time is 12:04.
I remember those. What are those worth?
Back then, $39. Not too bad. That's
Yeah,
not
it's
bad.
not bad.
But back in
I wonder how
1983.
much of this stuff back then was made overseas in China or
I can tell you
whatever.
this would take time. Yeah, that's a failover. I had one years and years and years.
No, if you had.
Years and years
My
and
router
years
has
ago,
it.
I had one, but no, I don't have anything like that now.
Yeah, it's
now, it just came up.
What did?
The internet's my system says it's up now, but it's 8:55. Just let it go.
Oh, hey, it says yay. I don't know.
Are we here? Are we live again?
We're live again. Yeah, we're live, I think.
I don't even know.
Yeah, we are.
Few people stuck around. I was like, we're done.
There's like
Let it
12
go.
people. Oh, it says everybody, hey, heck yeah.
You gotta love Optimum. Optimum, man, it just died out. Cole came out and go. Cole was just watching YouTube.
He probably lost
for the
his
people who are
mind.
here, here's a last minute treat. Here's a last minute treat. This is what I wanted to get to when the show went down. These science kits. These things were a lot of fun back in the day.
I didn't have one. I don't know why I didn't have one, but I didn't know if I just didn't understand what it was as a kid. You know, it's a Christmas miracle.
It is. It is. I think I got Scrooged. Oh, Grinched. I must have got Grinched. I don't know what the hell happened, but we're solid.
You got the old chaff from Optimum Cable.
I paid them. I paid the bill.
Meh.
But I tell you, these science kits were great. I had one that had one solar cell, and all I tried to do was anything I could do with that one cell. I didn't want to use batteries. I made a radio. I made like a little tone generator. They were a lot of fun.
Just from a little solar cell,
Yep.
basically.
Like my kit, I'm not sure if one of these kits has a solar cell in it. Actually, I think the $29 one has a solar cell right in the middle.
Okay.
But I thought that was neat. I would go outside in the sun, and this thing would be powered by it. And that fascinated the hell out of me. It really
Well, let me
did.
ask you a question before we keep going. Do you want to keep going past 9 o'clock?
We might as well. I mean, we lost a good 10,
I don't have a
15
problem with
minutes
it. It's Christmas, and I don't want to be on too long, but I could stay till about 9:30-ish.
Now, I want to
gotta
show
go
you.
pick up my daughter.
I'm going to show you right here. So you have these alkaline batteries. You have the green batteries. You have these
And the
rechargeable blues.
rechargeables.
None of these you can get with the battery card. You can only get the cheap-ass red batteries that probably last.
I remember that.
Yeah, just the red batteries.
They would show you like, oh yeah, you could get a free battery, and then he'd go out to the back and give you the shit ones.
Everyone always took the 9 volts because out of all of them, that was probably the most expensive. They always wanted 9-volt batteries.
Well, back then there was a lot of devices that used 9 volts.
Mostly radios.
No, but like nowadays, think about it. What actually uses a 9-volt battery nowadays? Not much.